Here we have along this wall display boards of all the individual components that make up Martin guitar as they appear as individual pieces of wood, the sides, the braces, the ribbons, the necks, and it just kind of gives folks an idea of what a guitar looks like before it's built. See here examples of Indian rosewood and mahogany, two very popular tone woods, obviously. And the billets of wood as they come to us and are cut into smaller pieces. And then if you look very closely, you can see how there's the shape of a neck stenciled onto that billet. Here's a very good example of how CNC technology is incorporated into our process. Here's what we start with, and here's the shape halfway done of what the CNC program cuts the billet to. Then this, of course, would go to a craftsperson who would glue it together with the fingerboard and truss rod and do all the final sanding and shaping and measuring. The top bracing, the front blocks and rear blocks and head plates, the ribbon lining, you can see how it's machined into smaller pieces and ramped and then serrated to go around the inside of the rim, which we'll see a little later. And of course the tops and backs, which are two-piece book-matched spruce and rosewood in this case. Of course have the three-piece back for the 35 series, but these are all created in the machine room and then moved upstairs to the luthiers who are building it. Looking down over this mezzanine, you'll see all of the different machines that join the wood, sand the wood, shape the different components, the braces, the tops are being profiled. The right below us is the clamp carrier, which joins together the tops and backs in a fashion that allows the person doing it to continue to work based on the dry time.
What's that one doing?
That's sanding. That's a time saver. Sanding out really deep scratches from the sawmill. So when it gets to the pre-finished part, they don't have to work as hard.
So it's kind of like a planer sander.
Exactly, yeah. If you look over there, what you'll see are all of the rosewood and mahogany back and sides, and what they're doing are putting together the sets that will make up each guitar. Since the backs and sides are not necessarily cut from the same tree, they're looking for, cohesive grain patterns and colorations. So now we're entering the high-end solid wood Martin factory part here. Okay. These are the rosewood sides that we saw profiled earlier. Okay, so these are in the perfect shape from thick at the bottom to thin at the top. And what they do in this part is that they bend them in the heated press for approximately 6 minutes. Then they put them directly into a cooling rack. And when that process is over, they have two sides that will symmetrically create the rim. They do some sanding operations to remove any oils that may have seeped out in the heating process. Much more easy to sand the inside of the guitar now than once it's together, obviously. Sure. So that's what they're doing.
How long will it be in the heat press?
5 minutes. Larry is doing some hand bending, which is the original way all of the sides were bent. Custom shapes, cutaways, tenor guitars, things like that are still done with the iron and the bucket of water, the original old world method. And Larry's been doing this for decades, so he's our in-house master craftsman. Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow.
Just bending it to fit that form exactly. Just a free hand.
Just feeling the wood, and he has a real feel for how it bends and what it can tolerate.
Exactly right.
Master craftsman. There you go, people. That's what you're paying for. That is, wow.
So now that the sides are bent, they're glued together in a fixture that joins them with the rear and front block, which will obviously eventually accommodate the neck. The Martin logo and model name and serial number have already been laser etched onto the mahogany block. And these are now in shop orders. You can see here the East Indian rosewood, some mahogany before it gets stained. And along the wall here we'll be installing the end piece and installing the interior ribbon lining to help support the top and back. And meanwhile, which we'll get to just around the corner, the tops and the backs for these rims are being braced, so they all complete together and passed on to the next apartment. Right.
Very cool.
And what these ladies are doing are cutting the brace ends and chiseling down the ends of the tone bars to fit into the ribbon lining to be a perfect puzzle piece match. And it's also a really good place to see the difference for those folks who don't know between scalloped bracing and non-scalloped bracing. Can be seen on any of these display boards. Here's a real good example. As you can see here, this is non-scalloped. This is just straight across the flat. And the scallop then refers to that scooping out of the.
So the scallop allows for more movement of the soundboard, maybe a louder guitar or a certain frequency response change.
That's right.
And these are all handcrafted too, right?
That's right. And in addition to the scalloping, another technique is to move the X brace closer to the sound hole to open up this bridge area where the string tension will really be moving the top. Okay, so now we're in the ribbon lining area, and they're installing a piece of Spanish cedar that will be glued into the rim of the top and the back, kind of widening the glue surface and adding support for the guitar in general. They're using clothespins, which we found decades ago to be the best tool available for the job, just the right amount of pressure and not too much pressure that it indents the wood or crushes the ribbon.
How long will that have to dry, Chris?
That's about a 45-minute dry time right there. Once the guitar is completely, the ribbon lining is completely glued in, it'll be about a 45-minute period before they can remove the clothespins and pass it on to the next area.
And he used a glue machine over here to make sure there's a nice even layer of glue on there, is that it?
That's right. These glue wheels were developed, like most of this fixturing was, in-house here. We have a machine room and a team of machinists that work hand in hand with the folks on the floor to make their job consistent and real easy.